You guys reprint a new one?
I remember there was a time when we was kings and queens, prophets and rulers, judging the earth. But now we stuck at the bottom of the totem pole. Where did we go wrong as a people? I think our people need to understand this with a wake-up call and give them understanding of what's going on. So bring it.
Early morning, rise up, open your eyes up, looking in the mirror, it gets no clearer. Cause we don't understand our own selves, drowning in sorrow with empty Hennessy bottles upon the shelf. Cause everybody wanna be a king, selling out their soul for this mean green cream thing. Paper chasing but not facing the facts that as a nation we all done got lax and letting the devil control us. And thinking like them damn Africans, they sold us. We in captivity because they hold us. Work is hard with heavy burdens on our shoulders. Man, I thought we were some soldiers, but every second that I look, we getting creamed like Folgers. You see the Lord done.
Shalom. Shalom, brothers and sisters.
Shalom.
Shalom.
How's everybody feeling?
Tawab.
Tawab. Thank you for joining us. We're here live at 8524 South Braeswood, Houston, Texas, 77071. You can join us Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. Our class days are Monday and Wednesdays. Times are from 7 to 10 p.m. Fridays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And Sabbath morning Sabbath classes, which I said twice, Sabbath classes held in the morning on Saturdays, which are 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. All right, if you're in the Houston metropolitan area, please feel free, drop on by. The merrier. All right. If you're in San Antonio, by way of San Antonio, we also have a school out there, ISBHBK. The address for out there is 8524 it's 4219 Centergate Street, San Antonio, Texas, 78217. All right. And also we're out in Albuquerque, New Mexico. All right, Priest Mashab is out there. So if you're out in Albuquerque, New Mexico, the address for out there is 501 Copper Avenue, Northwest, Albuquerque, New Mexico, 87102. All right. A couple of announcements that we have going on. The kids class, the kids ISBHBK, that's normally held on Sundays from 11 to 12. That will be back in effect in September. All right, so watch out for those. Again, if you're in the area, please bring the kids on by. Let them have a good taste of the experience of their natural history and get a good learning environment as well as being around their peers. All right. We have classes on YouTube, ISBHBK. Our live classes are there, as well as our old previous classes. We go through various topics. All right. Also, you can catch us on Saturday live on Comcast, channel 17, Houston Media Source, or you can log in hmstv.org. The time period for that cable show is 8:30 to 9:30 on Saturdays. All right. Like, share, subscribe, and get that good jazz out there. All right. If you need to reach anybody for questions outside of class, you could do so. You could do Priest Kazakia. He's actually in Trinidad right now, but his number is 281-707-2737, or Priest Tahawam Mayam, 832-941-2443. All right, or Priest Quatazab, which is 303-557-8979. All right. You can do mine as well, 281-871-9393. All right. Or you can email your questions at, or quick concerns or comments at isbhbk@gmail.com. All right. If you would like your shirts, your pants fringed, fringed purses, we have a site on Facebook, and it's called Israel Wear. A lot of sisters, they put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the materials that you see us wearing. All right, and it's a part of our wardrobe. That's what we wore back in the day, so we're trying to get that back out into effect and deck ourselves out in our beautiful array of garments. All right. If you have any donations, again, you have pencils, pens, papers, books, chairs, desks, cars, computers, books, whatever. You can bring that in or ship it into 8524 South Braeswood, Houston, Texas, 77071. All right, if you have any monetary donations like cash, you can do so at Wells Fargo. And the account number is 101-580-6167. It's under Israelite School of Biblical History. All right. Or if you have, if you can Google Wallet, if you want to Google Wallet, you can do so at isbhbk@gmail.com. All right. So what we're going to do right now is let everybody log in. Sorry for the delay. We were having technical difficulties with the computer, but we're going to give everybody a chance to log in, like, share, and subscribe. All right. And we're going to open up the first hour with questions.
While they get logged in, you guys have questions?
Come.
Okay. Actually, because somebody sent me a question,
Come.
let me answer that real quick and then we're going to get to yours.
Come.
Okay? That cool?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so my brother sent me a question. He was asking about, basically he wanted edification on James chapter 4 and verse 4. So get James chapter 4 and verse 4 real quick.
James chapter 4 and verse 4.
Actually, start at verse 1.
James chapter 4 and verse 1.
Y'all got it? Go ahead.
From whence come wars and fightings among you?
Right, so this was a question that was being asked. He said, where is the wars and the fightings coming from that are among you righteous? Go ahead.
Come they not hence, even of your own lust that war in your members?
Right. He's basically pointing out that these fightings, these infightings, they're coming from the lust that you're seeking after. They're coming from the lust that you're putting before the Most High. They're coming from the things that are drawing you away from the charity, right? Being there for your brother. That's where the fighting is coming from. One man is focused on the Most High, another man is focused on his pocket, what he can get, right?
Come.
Go ahead.
Ye lust and have not.
You say you do what?
Ye lust and have not.
Yeah. Like you lusting after things you don't even got nothing. The things you're lusting for, you can't even attain. They're outside of your reach. Go ahead.
Ye kill and desire to have.
Yeah, you're killing everything around you, but you want to have everything. Everything you put your hands to, it diminishes. Nothing that you put your hands to are prosperous. Why? Because you're doing it out of this lustful spirit. You're doing it out of this want for everything. Not wanting to build, but just store everything up under your own greed. Go ahead.
And cannot obtain. Ye fight and war, yet ye have not.
Go ahead.
Because ye ask not.
Yeah. Say because you ask not. You're not even asking for the right things. You know, you got those people that pray for the church tells you to pray for all these carnal things. Oh, pray for a new car. Pray for a big bank account. Pray for this. All these carnal things, the church and these pastors, they tell you to pray for. They never tell you to pray for the spiritual.
No.
Right? They never tell you to pray to be a better sister, better brother, better husband. Oh, go ahead and pray for the new car. Sow that seed for a new car, and God will give it to you. But they never ever tell you to pray for the things that really matter. They always teach this prosperity doctrine. Go ahead.
Ye ask and receive not.
And that's why when you ask, you don't receive anything. Because the things that you're asking for, they're vain and they're carnal. And they're of no value.
Right.
Go ahead.
Because ye ask amiss.
There it is. You ask amiss. You're missing on what you really need. The things that you should be asking for, like the spiritual gifts, ability to be able to teach, right? Those are the things. It's like you got brothers that come into the truth. The first thing they want is a rib. That's the first thing. I need a rib that's righteous. And I need that. I need my vehicle and this. And it's like, bro, you need to be teaching them. You should be asking the Most High for the spirit of study to be able to teach that rib when you get it. So that way she's not sleeping around with other dudes. That way she's not asking you questions that you can't answer. But see, you ask amiss. You ask him for that rib, but you can't even deal with it. So when you read up, everything you put your hand to, it disintegrates right through your fingers because of your lust. You're asking for things on your lust. Go ahead.
That ye may consume it upon your lust.
That you may what?
Consume it upon your lust.
You ask amiss because you just want to consume things upon your own lust. Right. If you're in a camp, in a school, you're not thinking about the brothers around you, the sisters around you. What can we get to better the body? You're thinking about how can I fill my own greedy belly? How can I fulfill my own lust? And that's why when you do get the things that you get, what happens?
You lose it.
You lose it in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat, man. You get that rib. She's putting up with the things that she don't understand, right?
Right.
She's putting up with it. She's trying to get in there. But since you want to be consuming everything on your lust, what happens?
You drive her away.
You push her away because you're not giving her you're not teaching her the things that she don't understand.
God.
Because that wasn't your intent in the beginning. Your intent was to just get a woman so you can have something to have sex with. You know what I'm saying? Something to fulfill your lust.
To fulfill that overwhelming desire.
Right. But not to fulfill the lust of, okay, I'm going to be a priest. I'm going to be a tool for the Most High. How do I make this woman into a tool that's going to be good for the body and be good for me?
Right.
But see, you want to consume things on your own lust. Go ahead. And that's the problem with a lot of our people. The lust, man. The lust, that the things that they look towards and for is just for them and for their household. And you know, what we got to get better at is not looking upon the things of our own house, but looking upon the things of others. Especially if, I've been meditating a lot, and Christ always likens us, the Bible likens the body of Christ, or Christ the body, to a body, right? With different members. Why? Because think about a body. Each part does what? Plays a different part for that whole body to function. Right? If one part's out of commission, or if there's a schism in one part, think about if you're missing a foot. Think about if you miss a big toe, how hard it is to walk. You see, so we got to understand, man, that we got to be doing things more in that mind state of togetherness. You see, what was being dropped here in James, he was exposing those cats that like to do things for themselves only and be there for themselves only and not look about everybody else that's around them. Go ahead and read on.
Verse 4. Ye adulterers.
You what?
Adulterers.
Go ahead.
And adulteress.
Yeah, you know why? Because you'll put your brother, you'll put somebody else, or you'll put material and carnal things over the well-being of your brother that's fighting for you.
Right.
You'll commit adultery on your brother in that sense of, I'm going to put this before him, this material carnal thing. I'm going to put the Most High, I'm going to put my carnal needs before what the Most High requires of me. Y'all understand that? That's why he called them ye adulterers and adulteresses. And see, the brother's question was in verse 4. He wanted understanding of verse 4. Go ahead, read it again.
Ye adulterers and adulteresses.
Go ahead.
Know ye not that friendship of the world is enmity with God?
Yeah, somebody look up that word enmity. He said friendship of the world is enmity with the Most High. Why? Why would he say that? Well, because what's in the world? Hold where you at. Go to 1 John chapter 2 and verse 15. Let's go to 1 John chapter 2 and verse 15.
1 John chapter
gotta,
2, verse 15.
You got to really examine these scriptures and understand what the Most High is trying to show us.
All right.
1 John chapter 2 and verse 15. Read that.
Love not the world.
Love not the world. Go ahead.
Neither the things that are in the world.
Yeah. It's talking about all those carnal aspects that the world brings. But this is the problem. Does the world bring anything spiritual to you?
Lie.
The world only brings carnal. Right? And then this is the problem. Even when you're a person in the world and the Most High is checking you and whooping on you, what's he doing? He's doing it in a spiritual way through carnal things. And people still don't realize that. He's whooping you carnally, but through spirit. And here, when you're dealing with when you're in the spiritual realm, when you're dealing with the scriptures and you understand it's all spirit. Everything's a spirit. Everything's spiritual. Even the carnal. You know, we get that understanding. But it says, love not the world. Go ahead.
Neither the things that are in the world.
Go ahead.
If any man love the world.
Yeah, if you're putting the things that are in the world above your duty to the Most High, above your brother, your sister, your wife, go ahead.
The love of the Father is not in him.
Yeah, the love of the Most High is not in you. This is why. Read on.
Verse 16. For all that is in the world.
So he's going to tell us the things that are in the world. Go ahead.
The lust of the flesh.
The what?
The lust of the flesh.
Yeah, let me have sex with every dude I meet on the first night. Let me put everything in every orifice that can fit. And if it don't fit, we'll make it fit. Right? What does I always say? Getting hit with 40 bottles? And bats. Right? Lust of the flesh. You know, think about it, man. You gotta just really paint the picture for yourself. You got women sleeping with animals. You got dude. I just read a story about a dude. They found him. He got suffocated. What is a boa constrictor? He constricted him to death, right? Mm-hmm. While he was having sex with his boa constrictor. Yeah, it constricted him. It constricted around him and suffocated him.
He was having sex with it.
He was having sex with it, with a snake. He was having sex with his boa constrictor, and it constricted around him and choked the life out of him. I mean, come on, man. Where do you what place in your mind do you have to be to say, let me sleep with my boa constrictor? It was like a 20-foot long snake. And then it comes out to say that when you read out in the story that they were talking about, he had went to the hospital for putting gerbils up in his rectum. He had to get part of his intestinal tract and part of his rectum removed because the gerbil was scratching through there and ripped his intestine out. Come on, man, think about that. This is the lust of the flesh. And I mean, it's extreme, but think about it. Think about how lustful you have to be to let a gerbil play in your butt. You see that? But think about it. I mean, bruh, it's crazy.
It is.
You got women sleeping with dogs. You got men with men, obviously. Women with women. The lust of the flesh. You know, it even boils down to a man saying, listen, I don't want to be a man. I'm going to chop off my penis because I lust to be this woman. I'm lusting to be a woman, so I'm going to take pills to grow a breast.
Right.
Go ahead, read on.
And the lust of the eyes.
And the lust of the eyes. Everything you see, you want. Your eyes are bigger than your belly. You ever hear that term? Your eyes are bigger than your belly? You go to the restaurant, you go to the buffet, and you just say, you see everything. You're like, yeah, I need everything. There's no moderation. You just load the plate up. By the time you sit down and take 2 bites, you're full. Everybody looking at you like, man, what's going on? It's like, damn, I was being greedy. The lust of the eyes, that's that greed. Everything you see, you want it. And you know what that leads to, man? That leads to envy. Then it leads to murder. Think about these dudes out in the street. They see you with something, they see you shining. You might have a nice vehicle. You know, you might have a nice little gold chain around your neck, whatever it may be. You know how Jay get down. And what do? His eye wants it, so what? I gotta go get that. I gotta rob that fool. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, you getting stuck up because a cat had a lustful eye, a covetous eye towards your possession. That lustful eye led to him murdering a cat. It happens. But this, the Most High is showing us, these are the things that are in the world. That's why we are supposed to love the world. Read on.
And the pride of life.
Yeah, the pride of life. Like, oh, my life is great. Can't nobody tell me nothing. I made me. Did you? The hell were you doing before you got the truth? What were you doing? I don't need no God. I don't need no man. I'm going to do me by myself. I'm going to do me better than I can do, than anybody can do me. The pride of life. You got all these people with PhDs and all these things acting like they're, because they have a PhD in something, that's it. They got it made. PhD ain't gonna get you no salvation, baby. So that's why, jump back to James 4:4 one more time.
Come. James chapter 4, verse 4.
Go ahead.
Ye adulterers and adulteresses.
Right, he called them adulterers and adulteresses because what they were doing, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, they were leaning more towards that than towards leading to the Most High. They were committing adultery on the Most High with these things. You see that? They were rather given to their lust, given to the pride of life, given to the lust of their eye, than sacrifice a little bit for their brother. Jump back to James. Or John, I'm sorry. And finish it up.
John chapter 2, verse 16, last precept.
Go ahead.
Is not of the Father.
Read it from the top.
From the top.
Yeah.
For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh,
Go ahead.
the lust of the eyes,
Go ahead.
the pride of life,
Go ahead.
is not of the Father.
Yeah, none of these things are of the Most High. That's why he said, that's why he called them an adulterer and an adulteress. They were turning their back on the Most High. Jump back to James.
Come.
Did somebody get the definition of enmity? Go ahead and read, Abiyar.
Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with God?
What's the word? Who got the definition? Enmity. Well, go ahead, Alexander.
It says positive, active, and typically mutual hatred or ill will.
It's what?
Positive, mutual.
Yeah, it's hatred. It's the Most High is like, I feel the same way because then you love me. They say the feeling is the feeling is you're gonna feed and eat into the spirit. Guess what? I'm gonna give you over to your lust. That's why it says when a man is drawn away, let's go there real quick. He's drawn away by his own lust. Isn't there? Go there. Go to James 1. What's that? Go to James 1 and 13.
James chapter 1, verse 13.
Go ahead.
Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God.
See, the Most High is not going to tempt you. That's what we have to understand. You're tempted because that's what you want. The Most High is not going to tempt you. But what he is going to do, when we read back in that James 4 and 4, when it says enmity with the Most High, you turn your back on him, he's going to be like, all right, do what you want. Go ahead.
For God cannot be tempted with evil.
Go ahead. The Most High cannot be tempted with evil. Go ahead.
Neither he tempt any man.
Neither he what?
Tempteth any man.
Yeah, he's not going to tempt you with evil. He don't have to. The evil is there, and guess what? You desire it. The heart is desperately wicked and deceitful above all things. Jeremiah 17 and verse 9. Y'all can add that to your notes. Read on.
But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust.
You see that? You're tempted when you draw away of your own lust. When you're drawn away of the things of the world. When you let the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, where you figure like, oh, you know what? I don't got to sit back here and suffer with these brothers. I don't got to suffer no affliction, no persecution. I'm gonna go live a better life. That pride of life. Like, come on, man. I don't gotta go through it. The scriptures say through much tribulation you shall enter into the kingdom. Acts chapter 14, verse 22. Right? But you got a lot of men that figure, I can skip that part. I don't gotta go through Acts 14 and 22. So I'm gonna go ahead and desire my life. I'm gonna do my life the way I want it. I'm gonna go take pride in my life. I'm gonna go be a drug dealer. I'm gonna go work at Walmart and push carts and bag groceries. Come on, man. That's what you're taking pride in? Being a grocery bagger?
Yep.
When the Most High sets you up to be a priest and a king, but you want to go bag groceries. All because you feel like you don't have to go through things. Go ahead.
And enticed. Verse 15.
You're enticed. Go ahead.
Then when lust has conceived.
See, and this is why the Most High said, love not the things that are in the world. Don't chase your lust. Because now when lust has been conceived, think about when when you conceive a baby. That's that egg meeting that sperm, right? Baby ain't even born yet. It still takes 9 months for that baby to incubate, pop out. 10 months according to Solomon. So think about it. When it's conceived, when that thought is conceived, as soon as you figure like, oh, there's a way for me to get that. Now what? Read.
It bringeth forth sin.
What happens?
It bringeth forth sin.
Yeah, you conceive the thought, then you act on it. That's where your sin comes from. But that's why the Most High said, don't deal with that. Don't chase after that. Read.
And sin, when it is finished.
Yeah, when you're done committing all your whoredoms, your adultery, when you're done running behind the Most High's back, chasing all the different gods, Muslim, Christian, right? When you want to sit there and smoke your weed, when you want to sleep around and just make whores of the woman of Zion, when you want to do all these negative things, what happens?
When sin is finished.
And when you're done, go ahead.
Bringeth forth death.
Yeah. The Most High is going to chop you in half. You're going to get cut off, man. That's why the Most High was warning us in James. If you're a friend of the world, you ain't my friend. And guess what? I'm not your friend. Because I don't deal with sin. Y'all understand that?
Come on.
Was that it on there? Yeah, that's it on there. Uh-huh. Is there anything, let's see. Abiyar, what was your question, bro?
Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 13.
Oh, Abiyah she gave a good definition of enmity. The quality of being an enemy. The opposite of friendship. Ill will. Hatred. Wow. Unfriendly dispositions. Nice. I'm sorry. You said Isaiah. Isaiah what?
28 and verse 13.
What's the question?
Well, I'll read it. Isaiah chapter 28, verse 13.
Go ahead.
But the word of the Lord was unto them precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there little, that they might go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken.
Right.
What is it referring to when it's saying that they might fall backwards and be taken, be broken and snared and taken?
It's talking about they weren't going to understand. Even though, let's read up. Read up. Read to read verse 9.
Isaiah chapter 28, verse 9.
Read.
Whom shall he teach knowledge?
Okay, so what's the subject here?
Teaching.
teaching knowledge, right? That's the subject. So, if we understand that subject is the knowledge, or the subject is who is going to learn how to be taught knowledge. Read on.
And whom shall he make to understand doctrine?
Go ahead. Understand this doctrine with the Bible. Who was going to be capable? Go ahead.
Precept.
So now, right? This is the way. Precept.
On precept, lips.
Right.
And another tongue will he speak to his people.
Go ahead.
To whom he said, this is the rest wherewith ye may cause the weary to rest.
Go ahead.
And this is the refreshing.
Right, so he was showing through the precept upon precept. This is where you get your comfort. This is where you get your understanding. Understanding and wisdom is supposed to bring the comfort of the scriptures. It's supposed to bring you that rest. Right? Go ahead.
Yet they would not hear.
They would not what?
They would not hear.
Okay, so what are we dealing with now?
People were not listening.
People that weren't listening and understanding. The way you get it is by going precept upon precept, but they would not what?
Hear.
Read on.
Verse 13. But the word of the Lord was unto them precept upon precept.
Right. Even though they wouldn't hear, the Bible was still precept upon precept. Go ahead.
Precept upon precept.
Go ahead.
Line upon line.
Go ahead.
Line upon line.
Go ahead.
Here a little and there a little.
Yeah, so guess what? Even though you don't hear it, it's still set up the same way. The order is still the same. Right? Read on.
That they might go and fall backwards.
Right. Since they didn't hear it,
and fall backwards.
Right. Read on.
And be broken and snared and taken.
Yeah. So it's showing method on how to have some that wouldn't hear. Like you got your Jehovah's Witnesses who think that you just read the Bible as a novel, and that's how you're supposed to get it. You got a lot of brothers that think you read the Bible as a novel, and that's how you get it. No. The scriptures say, line upon line, here a little, there a little. Right?
Go
to Psalms. Hold where you at. Go to Psalms 119 and 104.
Psalm chapter 119 and verse 104.
Go ahead.
Through thy precepts I get understanding.
What did David say?
Through thy precepts I get understanding.
How did the Most High tell us to work?
Through thy precepts
go ahead.
I get understanding.
Right. Through the precepts you get understanding. But see, some people don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear that to get the understanding of Genesis, you got to jump through. Or to get the understanding of Revelations, you got to jump to Genesis. To understand just Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, you got to hit Psalms. You got to hit Colossians, Hebrews. They're like, why? I don't want to do it that way. So guess what? Now the Bible becomes a stumbling block and a snare. You see that? That's why the scriptures come back and say, what if some would not believe? Does that make the faith of the Most High void? Because it's not just talking about the belief in the Most High, it's talking about the belief in the process. In all the ways of the Most High, and how to read the Bible, and how to understand it, break it down. So that's what it was talking about. You know, a lot of times, yeah, you just read up a little bit. I know we pull the verse 9, 10, 11 a lot. You know, and we don't really read down, but yeah, you put it all into context. You just look. What's the subject? What's he talking about? Oh, knowledge, doctrine. Who's going to learn it? It's basically going into. Precept hasn't changed. Lack of wanting to understand.
So
right. Anybody. Through thy precepts. Coming back and confirm. Here a little, there a little, right?
Con.
And it tells you why in verse 9, because that's how you're going to learn knowledge. So to the average person that doesn't understand, they're like, well, why? You go to Psalms, you go to a precept in Psalms, and it tells you why. The precept is Psalms 119 and 104. And he tells you, through thy precepts I get understanding. It backs it up. But they're like, well, why you got to go to Psalms to understand Isaiah? Because he's giving you a little bit more in-depth look. He's giving you more ammo to add to that scripture to get more understanding. That's all it really is. But a lot of people don't see it like that. They think it's a novel, front to back, and that's it.
I would say this at times to people when I would get hit with that question. And I don't know if this was correct, so let me ask.
Yeah.
I would say Scripture usually edifies Scripture.
Oh, that's perfect. That's what it was telling you here, though. The precept upon precept, line upon line, the Bible is going to unlock itself. That way there's no private interpretation. You see that? You don't need a private interpreter. Like, I know my God. God tells things to me. No, you don't. The Bible tells things to you through the Bible. The scripture unlocks itself. You know, perfect example, when you go to Revelation. Just as a quick example. Go to Revelation chapter 1. One and 14. Now, Revelation 1 and 14 deals with the revelation of Christ. Right? Read that real quick.
Revelation chapter 1 verse 14.
Go ahead.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
Right. So, to the average thinking mind, his head and his hairs were white like wool. If you think about it, it's like, well, what is that? What does that mean? That can be broken down just through logic. Oh, he had white, gray hair. He had gray hair. He had gray beard and gray hairs on his head, right? Go ahead.
As white as snow.
Right.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
Stop. You're like, flame of fire? Like, wow, was Christ shooting flames from his eyes?
He was Cyclops.
Was he Cyclops? You know, because you're like, damn. Well, the top precept was literal. And then the flame of fire was what? Symbolic. But see, to the average brain, they don't understand that. They're going to read it like, oh, it's all literal. Or it's all symbolic. Either one. But they're not understanding that this is broken down literally and symbolically. They're like, damn. But how do you get the understanding of what it means as a flame of fire? Now you got to go to Genesis 49 and 12. Right? And understand that the Bible, it was a future prophecy in Genesis that, well, you got to understand two things. You got to understand that Christ drank. So that's one thing.
Matthew 11 and 19.
Matthew 11 and 19. You got to understand that Christ drank. So that's one. So we go to Matthew 11 and verse 19. So this is a precept. Read that.
Matthew chapter 11 and verse 19.
There's more than one reader here, right?
Go ahead.
The Son of Man came eating and drinking.
So the Son of Man is talking about Christ. It said he did what?
Came eating and drinking.
Right. So it said the Son of Man came eating and drinking. So we understand, okay, what does that mean? Now we jump to Genesis 49 and 12. Another precept. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 49 verse 12.
Go to, start at verse 9.
Verse 9.
Right.
Judah is a lion's whelp.
Right. So it's dealing with Judah, right?
God.
The tribe of Judah. These were future prophecies of the tribe. So watch this. And we can go to Hebrews 7 and 14, where it tells you that it is evident our Lord sprang out of Judah, speaking of Christ. So now we know. Christ came from the tribe of Judah. Hebrews 7 and verse 14. We know that 49 and 9 is talking about Judah and giving you their characteristics. Jump to verse 12.
Verse 12.
Go ahead.
His eyes shall be red with wine.
It should be what?
Shall be red with wine.
Right. So now we understand that Christ, from the tribe of Judah, ate and drank wine. He drank wine. That is why his eyes were as a flame of fire. You see, 4 different scriptures or 3 different scriptures to give us the understanding and the knowledge of verse 14 in Revelation.
Come.
Right. And I understand. I know you got that. For the people online that don't understand. But that's why David came back and said, through thy precepts I get understanding. It's like, oh, now I get it. He didn't shoot lasers and fire. His eyes were just red with wine because he drank. So the Bible was speaking symbolically. His eyes were just that red. Y'all get that?
Come. I have another question.
Wow, dang. Yeah. What's that?
St. John chapter 9 and verse 4 and 10. 4 and 5.
John chapter 9?
Chapter 9.
4 and 5?
Come.
Get there real quick.
John chapter what?
9.
St. John chapter 9.
Verse 4.
4 through 5.
Go ahead.
St. John chapter 9 verse 4.
Go ahead.
I must work the work of him that sent me.
Go ahead.
While it is day,
Uh-huh.
the night cometh when no man can work.
Go ahead.
As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world.
Uh-huh.
So when Christ is saying that work while he has to work while the light's in the world,
Yeah.
and there's going to be a day when the light's not in the world.
Right?
Is that like when the destruction is coming, or when the destruction is here, or when there's that famine in the land, when there's not a hearing of the word?
It's like this. What did Christ always symbolize his coming as?
Great and terrible day of the Lord.
Watch this. Go to where's the one that says? Well, let's break it down. Let's start at verse 1, just so we can get a little understanding why he finds that scripture for me.
Come.
So read verse 1.
St. John chapter 9, verse 1. And as Yahushua passed, he saw a man that was blind from his birth. And his disciples asked, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents?
Right, so the disciples, the one thing that this verse is showing you, that the disciples, they understood about the regeneration. Because think about it. If the man was born blind, how could he already sin? Right?
Yeah.
So they understand that the regeneration, you would pay for the sins of your past life.
Yeah.
Or your parents, or you would pay for the sins of your parents. Who did sin? This man or his parents? Go ahead.
That he was born blind.
Go ahead.
And Yahushua answered, Neither hath this man sinned, nor his parents.
Go ahead.
But that the works of the Most High should be made manifest in him.
Go ahead.
I must work the work of him that sent me.
Right, so he was basically showing that it wasn't the fact that this man sinned. He was created this way so that that Christ could perform the works that the Most High sent him to do, which was heal the sick, right?
Come.
Go ahead.
While it is day,
Go ahead.
the night cometh when no man can work.
From there, go to 1 Thessalonians 5 and verse 2. We're at John 9 and 6. Yeah, John 9 and 1 through 6. Through 5.
1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 2.
Go ahead.
For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night.
He comes as a what?
As a thief in the night.
Yeah. They liken the coming of Christ to a thief in the night. So you're saying there's going to be a night when y'all ain't going to be able to do no works. Why? Because he's going to be, for one, he's not going to be here in this capacity as far as I'm going to be teaching and walk with you. You see that?
Come.
Read verse 5. How we are?
Verse in John.
Yeah.
Verse 5. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the
You
world.
see that? As long as I'm here, I'm the light. You get that?
So-
as long as I'm here, I'm going to be the light of the world. I'm going to be that balance against the good and evil. I'm going to be that good in the world.
Come.
I'm going to be that wisdom to teach you.
So that was as long as he was in the world physically.
Mm-hmm.
So
When Christ comes back, what's happening?
well, yeah, it's
It's death, destruction. Ain't no more. Let me teach you.
right.
Right.
But he's not physically in the world anymore.
Right?
So he says while he's in the world, he's the light.
He's the light. Right.
Yeah. And a day's come when there won't be any light,
No, it says there's
Or,
a day. There's a day
or-
coming when no man is going to work.
where no man's can
A night
work.
cometh when no man can work. Right. Because why? What's that night?
The destruction.
Yeah.
I thought that because it sounds like just to me that okay, while he's here, it's light. He's gone, it's dark.
Well, isn't there a wisdom amongst us?
Con. So
Right.
that's why I wanted clarification on it.
Right. So let's look at it again. He said, I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day.
Con.
Right? The night cometh when no man can work. Think about it. What would stop any man, what night would stop no man from working?
When it's everything's being destroyed.
Right. That's why we went to 2 Thessalonians. The night of the Most High. It says, let's read it again.
2.
Yeah, 5 and 2. 1 Thessalonians.
1 Thessalonians chapter 5 verse 2.
Uh-huh.
For yourself know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night.
You see that? You get it?
Con.
Do you?
I get it. I get it.
It's kind of like,
Yeah, I get it, but
let's do this. Go to,
it's like I feel like I don't have all the, I'm not getting all the pieces.
Right. Go to, you said what? Oh, you know what? Let me check something here. Where are we at? We're at John 9, right?
Come.
All right, let's read verse 4 again,
St. John chapter 9 verse 4.
right?
I must work the work of him that sent me.
So we understand that Christ is going to work the work of the Most High, because that's who sent him. Go ahead.
While it is day,
Go ahead.
the night cometh, when no man can work.
Right. So he has to work while it's day, because the night cometh that no man can work. We know that the Most High said Christ is going to come like a thief in the night. Right? Does that make sense?
Come.
Okay, so verse 5.
Verse 5. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world.
Right? Jump to as I'm in the
That's
world.
really the part that's
Right.
thrown off the.
So as long as I'm in the world, I am the light of the world.
Huh.
John 3.
St. John.
Yeah.
St. John chapter 3.
Go ahead.
From
Start at
1,
verse 17.
verse 17.
Go ahead.
For the Most High sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world.
Hold on real quick, huh? 3 and 17. Down. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
But that the world through him.
So God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, right?
Gone.
But go ahead.
But through the world. That's a lot. But that the world through him might be saved.
Okay, so we're going to understand what the saving and what the condemning, what they represent. Go ahead.
Verse 18. He that believeth on him is not condemned.
Right, so you believe, you're not condemned. Go ahead.
But he that believeth not is condemned already.
Go ahead.
Because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son.
And we know it's more than just believing. You got to do the works. You got to put in your brick, right?
Gone.
Go ahead. Verse 19.
Verse 19. And this is the condemnation.
You see that? This is the condemnation. Go ahead.
That light is coming to the world.
What does that light represent?
The wisdom.
Well, who is it?
The Yahweh Shai.
Right. So he said, as long as I'm in the world, I'm the light of the world.
Gone.
So here is telling you this is the condemnation. That light has come into the world. Go ahead.
And men love darkness rather than light.
Is it coming together?
Con. It's actually coming together the way I was thinking about it,
Uh-huh.
but wanted more clarification on.
Right. Alexandra, what were you going to say?
So the light is Christ, which is the word too, right? Like
Yeah.
all of that in that essence. Like
Yeah, the
which
word, the
represent
wisdom, right.
time. Okay.
Yeah. Christ. I mean, think about it. Jump to verse, go to St. John. Hold where you at. Go to St. John chapter 1. No, go, just to show real quick, go to St. John chapter 1 and verse 14.
St. John chapter 1 verse 14.
St. John chapter 1 verse 1.
St. John chapter 1 verse 1.
Read.
In the beginning was the Word.
Who was the Word?
Yahweh Shai.
Jump to verse 14.
Verse 14. And the Word was made flesh.
What happened?
The Word was made
You
flesh.
understand that the Word is Christ, right?
Gone.
Jump to go back to St. John chapter 3 and verse 19.
Verse 19.
Uh-huh.
And this is the
Well,
condemnation.
actually, verse 17,
Verse 17.
right?
For the Most High sent not his Son.
So what's the subject here?
Yahweh Shai.
God sending his Son,
Gone.
right? Jump down to verse 19.
Verse 19. And this is the condemnation.
Go ahead.
That light is coming to the world.
Right. God sent his Son. The light is the Son. He sent them to the world. You see, he changed the words as a representation.
Gone.
So Christ represents the light, the wisdom, the word. Represents all these different things. He is the wisdom.
Gone.
He is the word. Right? He is the light.
Gone.
So, and this is the condemnation that the light has come into the world. Go ahead.
And men love darkness rather than light,
You see that? Go ahead.
because their deeds were evil.
Go ahead. But see, when you jump back to John 9, when Christ said in verse 9 and 4, I must work the works of him that sent me. Who sent him?
Most High.
Was his deeds evil? Is the Most High evil?
Lie.
Lie. So what was he doing? He was doing works of the light.
Gone.
But he said, but then he said, as long as I'm in the world, I am the light of the world, because his deeds, he was doing those deeds of light.
Gone.
You see that? So, but then you have men that do the deeds of darkness, as you read down back in John, verse 20, 3 and 20.
Gone.
Finish that.
John 3 and 20.
Yeah.
St. John chapter 3 verse 20.
Uh-huh.
For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light,
Go ahead.
neither cometh to the light,
Right?
lest his deeds should be reproved.
You see that? They hate the light, even though the light was there. Christ was there. They didn't. A lot of people didn't come and want to deal with Christ because he was that light. Because they didn't want their deeds that weren't of the Most High. Like we go back to that James 4:4 where it says the lust of the flesh, pride of the eyes.
Gone.
They didn't want those things to be brought out.
Gone.
Clicking now?
Yeah, it's clicking. It's actually clicking the way I was thinking.
What were you thinking?
I was thinking like, you know, the light was Yahushai,
Yeah.
and his wisdom in the earth.
Yeah, but isn't that still here?
Right. It's
Right.
still here. But then earlier when I asked, is that like when he's physically here or when he's gone too? Or
Well,
that's why I was asking,
I see
was
what
it
you're
when
saying.
was
Right.
it physically while he was here?
Well, it's both.
Or
Because
then-
the wisdom is still here.
Right,
Just
right.
that men don't want to come to the light.
Right.
Right. So yeah, it was when he was physically. But this is the thing. When Christ comes, are we gonna have to go to this
No.
day of destruction?
No.
Right. It's not that this is gonna be done away with, but it's like now you can't run to this.
Come.
When you're doing these evil deeds, now you can't just go run to the Bible and be like, I'm saved or help me. No, you had your chance. You see that?
Come. So what?
Come on, bro. Any old time. Let's see. You can check it online. You got another 50? Shalom, Trinidad and Tobago. Y'all watching, huh? Yeah. 1426. Right. That's comfortable. Right. Which is this?
Exactly.
Right. What, I mean.
No, I was gonna say.
Oh,
no,
I mean,
you good.
oh, okay. I mean, listen, it ain't my show.
It's
Come on,
our
baby.
shit.
I'm not even here right now. I'm just
You're invisible. Like
floating.
Exandria?
There was a question online about the meaning of Galatians 4 and 5.
Yeah, I'm actually going right there right now.
Um.
Go there. Go to Galatians chapter 5.
4 and 5?
5 and 4.
5 and 4?
Kind.
Galatians chapter 5, verse 4.
5 and verse. We got to start at verse 1.
Galatians chapter 5, verse 1. Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage.
Right. So Paul is saying the liberty that Christ affords us is to not be, what's that? How we are?
I wanted to ask before you went into the next question.
Uh-huh.
With that night, when Christ is the wisdom is not in the land, and when Christ is coming back, would that be the famine of not being able to hear the word?
I mean, that's happening now. Where the scriptures say there'll be a famine of the word, there'll be the land will be barren of faith.
Right.
That's happening now, though.
How's it happening now when we got faith?
Well, it says barren of faith. That don't mean there will be any at all. You see, that don't mean it will be zero faith. Like everyone's just gonna be faithless. Else, who's gonna be saved?
I thought that was barren.
But who's gonna be saved?
I guess no one will be saved then.
Right. It wouldn't make sense, right?
Come.
There have to be some that are sealed,
Come.
right? So who would be saved if there was just gonna be zero faith on the earth?
No one.
Hold on real quick. Let's just get a better understanding. Before we go to Galatians, hold on. Let's just look up the words. What scripture are you quoting?
It's Amos.
Yeah, okay.
8:11.
Okay.
Oh, it says a famine, not barren.
Amos 8 and verse 11. Oh, the famine, yeah. See,
Yeah, that's a famine. It's not
barren.
It's not barren.
Right.
Yeah, I was just remembering it wrong.
Right. So, yeah, a famine, that means it's going, the words are cut off for a little bit. People ain't trying to hear it.
Right, it's in short supply.
Right, because think about it, if there was just zero faith on the earth
Come.
at all, who's going to be the 144,000?
Now it makes more sense, but I remembered it wrong.
Yeah.
It's in second Ezra.
That's in second Ezra? Was there?
Yeah, what you're talking about is in
Oh yeah. That's second Ezra 5.
Second Ezra's. Where you at?
Was it 5 and what, Brad?
5 and 1.
5 and 1?
Oh, well. There's no way to. You got the definition of barren?
Mine say not producing.
Right.
Not producing or incapable of producing offspring, unproductive, unfruitful, without capacity to interest or attract.
Right. So, think about it. Something is fruitless, destitute, lacking. Yeah, that doesn't mean you don't have it at all. When something's lacking, think about it. If you lack the ability, that's different than not having the ability at all. So, mentally unproductive, dull, stupid, not producing results, destitute, usually grammar level or slightly lower than usually they say. This is what I'll do. Let me look more into that. Let me look more into the John with that Ezra's, and I'm gonna get you an answer.
Okay, because to me it will kind of go with what you were saying. That's why I was asking if that would be a precept to link with that.
Let me look into it for you.
Come.
All right.
Come.
Where were we back at? Galatians?
Galatians 5 and 5. Should start at verse 1.
Galatians chapter 5 verse 1.
Go ahead.
Stand fast therefore in the liberty wherewith Christ has made us free.
So, how has Christ made us free? What has made you free? What's that?
The word.
Yeah, St. John 8:32. You shall know the truth, and the truth is going to make you free. The truth. You're free from what? Also, the bondage, the not knowing who you are, right? You're free from thinking that it's okay to eat pork, but you're also free from having to be told don't eat pork. Why? Because now you know. I don't have to eat pork. I'm not bondage to that law, right? Because some people are slaves to the law, where it's like, damn, I can't eat pork, and then they eat pork, And then what happens? The law has to come into effect, right? They got to be told. They got to be kept under that law, right? So Christ made us free through knowing what is sin, right? Go ahead.
And be not entangled with the yoke of bondage.
Right, you see that? Go ahead, verse 2.
Behold, I, Paul, say unto you, that if ye be circumcised.
Right, when you're circumcised, what does that mean? It's a representation, right? I mean, you got the physical circumcision and you got that mental circumcision, right? Where you understand, you know the laws, you know what you're supposed to be doing. Go ahead.
Christ shall profit you nothing.
Right. It's like, if you know, like who needs the law if they know it? No one, right? The person that understands and knows the law and does it, you don't need to be told to do it. So there's no profit in that. Y'all get it? Read on.
For I testify again to every man that is circumcised.
That is what?
That is circumcised.
That knows better. Go ahead.
That he is a debtor.
Right? Look up that word debitor.
Debtor to do the whole law.
Read. Somebody look that up.
Debtor. A person who is in debt or under financial.
Right. So therefore I testify again to every man that is circumcised, that he is your what?
Is a debtor.
Right. Read the definition again. That he's
a person who is in debt or under financial obligations.
So you're obligated to do the whole law. You see that? Read verse 4.
Christ is become of no effect unto you.
Go ahead.
Whosoever of you are justified by the law, ye are fallen from grace.
Right. If you think you can justify yourself through the law, and then that's all you hang your hat on, then where's the grace? Y'all in. But then guess what? You do. Don't you need grace? What is grace going to do? It's supposed to stop you from being killed, right? Stone. But you got those people that say, well, I keep the whole law. I keep all the laws. Do you? How? Because it's saying if you believe that, and you're under all the laws, you're in debt to all the laws. Now, you ain't got no grace if you mess up.
Right.
You see that? If you're justifying yourself through the law. Because it's like, guess what? I keep the Sabbath. Now I'm justified. I wear my fringes. Now I'm justified. But what happens when you mix your fabrics? Are you justified? No. But then don't you need grace to not be judged for that? Like, to the max? Condemned? Right. But that's why you say you fall from grace. Because now you're like, I do this, I do this, I do this. Like, you have people that do that. Got Hebrews that do that, like, oh, we keep the laws over here. All 619. That's not mine. There ain't no way. You don't even know all 619.
Right.
It draws across fabric.
Yeah. You got cotton wool Fruit of Balloons on.
With the elastic lining.
With the elastic lining. Yeah, man, stop that. You got no linen breeches. You see that? So if you're hanging your hat like solely on the law, because we know the law is what?
Death.
But no, the law is our works, right? That's part of the work. You do it. It's the doing of it. But what happens to the faith? Because you had some of those that try to justify themselves solely through the law. Like, I'm just going to do the law. I don't need faith. I'm just going to have the law. But the scriptures say faith without works is dead. Right? Got another one?
Elsa.
My question is on Revelation 12 and 1.
Ooh, you going big. You going up in there. You going up in there. All right, so we're going to take this last one, and then we're going to start the class. Let me Let me jump somewhere real quick. Oh, you got it? Yeah. What's your question?
Where it says her head a crown of 12 stars. I was curious on what that 12 stars represent.
Read it.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Stop. So the 12 stars, right? Just we're not getting too in depth in it, but the 12 stars represent the 12 tribes of Israel. Give me Genesis chapter 37, verse 5.
See, and this is what we were talking about earlier. This is a precept that's going to edify
What it's talking
what it's talking about, because damn near all of Genesis is written symbolically. Yeah, go ahead.
Genesis chapter 37, verse 5. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it to his brethren, and they hated him the more.
Is that verse 5?
Gone.
Verse 9.
Verse 9.
Where we at? Where we at?
Genesis chapter 37, verse 9.
Uh-huh.
And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it to his brethren.
I told it to who?
To his brethren.
Okay.
How many brothers did Jacob have?
12.
Go ahead.
No, he had son. He had 12 sons.
Oh, what am I talking about?
He had 12
Jacob had
sons.
I'm thinking about
Joseph.
Excuse me, I'm thinking about something else. I'm sorry. I've been in these other stories. Go ahead.
Joseph, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where we at? We're at
Genesis chapter
Genesis.
35. No, 37.
37, verse 9.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Genesis chapter 37, verse 9. And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me.
Okay, so so basically Joseph is giving this dream about the 11 stars, right, and the sun and the moon. Go ahead.
Verse 10. And he told it to his father and to his brethren, and his father rebuked him.
And his dad, and when it said his dad rebuked him, he looked at him like, what the hell do you mean? Right? He corrected him like, what do you mean the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bow down to you? Go ahead.
And said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother?
Him and the mother, the sun and the moon, the father and the son, or the father and the mother, the sun and the moon. Go ahead.
And thy brethren?
And thy brethren. So that's my Simeon, right? The whole 12 tribes. Well, the Ephraim and Manasseh actually came from Joseph. All right.
But that's why I meant to ask how many brothers does Joseph have? I don't know why I said Jacob.
That's about. I knew what you. I knew you were talking about Joseph.
Yeah. Go ahead.
They answered like knowing what you meant. But
yeah.
But it registered like, wait a minute. But yeah, so those 12 stars represented the tribes of Israel. All right. Another scripture, Judges chapter 5, verse 18. You're going to read 18 through 20.
Judges chapter 5, verse 18.
Give me a time when you get it. Go ahead.
Judges chapter 5, verse 18. Zebulun and Naphtali were a people that jeopardized their lives unto the death in the high places of the field. The kings came and fought. Then fought the kings of Canaan in Taanach, by the waters of Megiddo. They took no gain of money. They fought from heaven. The stars in their courses fought against Caesarea.
So what did they call them in this instance?
The stars.
The stars. All right. So this is just another scripture showing you that the stars were representing Israel.
Yeah, but when you read up from verse 12, it names the tribes. when you start at verse 14, it names the tribe. So it goes through the story. So it talks about Ephraim, Benjamin, Zebulun, Issachar. So yeah, when you read down, Reuben, Zebulun. Yeah, when you read down, Naphtali, Dan.
Right.
Yeah, when you read down, it's talking about the 12 sons. And then it likens them to stars in that verse 20. Yep. You get that, sis? Oh.
But does Isaiah 60 and 19 have anything to do with 12 and 1?
Well, it's not part of this breakdown for Revelation. So I would say no. So Isaiah 60 and 19, right?
Yeah, I'll read it. It says the sun shall be no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall the moon give light unto thee. But the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and thy God thy glory.
Yeah, see, this is talking about when Christ comes and the nations start bowing to us. He's just showing what he's going to be doing for us. If you read up, it's like verse 18. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, in thy borders, but thou shalt praise. So basically, when you read Isaiah 60, that's what it's talking about. It's talking about our salvation. Yeah. But that wouldn't have anything to do with the Revelations.
That Isaiah 60 and 19, would that go with Revelations 21 and 23?
I want to go into Revelations, man.
I'm just asking if that, if that's,
I want to go up in there, man.
if those are linking precepts.
What is it?
21 and 23.
21 verse 20.
Working on linking my precepts. That's all.
As far as what we have here in this Revelation breakdown, it's not there, so I'm gonna say la. But we'll look into that. I mean, that's a good one. It looks like it wants to, but I'm not gonna say con on something that
you're not sure about.
Con.
So you know how in the Bible it says, like next to the verse it says a linking.
Yeah.
A cross reference.
Yeah. Well, in mine it says actually Revelation 21:23 next to the.
Oh, it does?
That doesn't always mean it's right though.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't always mean that it's on point. Because that's what they don't understand some of the symbolisms. So because this time, mine does what they do. They put. You see that?
That's what mine did. Like,
oh, it linked.
Yeah, so that's how I was like.
See,
because it referenced the sun and the moon.
Yeah.
So
see, mine.
Like, how does that go with?
Yeah, mine put Zechariah 2 and 5, and it might not be on point.
Where's Revelation what? Or no, Isaiah?
Isaiah 60 and verse 19. Yeah, mine put Zechariah 2 and 5, a totally different scripture from y'all's, but what it does, it links words. Yeah, it's more of a word linker than an actual precept linker, and sometimes it links the correct precepts. Let's see. Zechariah 2 and 5. Yeah, Zechariah 2 and 5. Well,
yeah, Zechariah 2 and 5, Revelations
23, yeah. Yeah. So it could be, but as far as what we have, I'm going to say, I'm going to get back to you only because, we're not going to speak on something that we don't have no authority to change or speak on. You see that?
Come.
Yeah. So it's Isaiah 60 and 19. Link. What is it, Revelation?
21,
what?
23. 21, 23.
Yeah. Let's leave it at that. All right, let's get into this. Daniel, chapter dos. If there's no more questions. All right, so we're gonna do a Daniel, or this the brother priest Aria Ama1 is gonna be taking y'all to Daniel, the 2nd chapter breakdown, okay? Which there's symbolism and different things in here, a lot of writing. So it's a history day. It's a history day, right? We love history. You gotta know it, man. It's important. It's important to know the history of your nation. So we go through it, that way we can understand what's been going on. Take it away, my friend.
Give me Daniel's chapter 2, please. Give me a con.
Con.
No, okay. So we're gonna go over Daniel's chapter 2. All right?
Con.
Gone?
Done?
Con.
All right, go ahead.
Daniel chapter 2 verse 1. And in the 2nd year of the reign of Nebuchadnezzar, Nebuchadnezzar dreamed dreams, wherewith his spirit was troubled, and his sleep brake from him.
So Nebuchadnezzar, all right, so a little history, you want to write this down. Nebuchadnezzar was the first king of the Babylonian Empire. Nebuchadnezzar was the first king of the Babylonian Empire. And in this case, it says he dreamed a dream. All right? You guys got that written down? Okay, go ahead.
Verse 2. Then the king commanded to call the magicians, and the astrologers, and the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans, for to show the king his dreams. So they came and stood before the king. Verse 3. And the king said unto them, I have dreamed a dream, and my spirit was troubled to know the dream.
Okay, stop. So basically, Nebuchadnezzar, he called all the magicians, the astrologers, the sorcerers, the Chaldeans to come interpret this dream that he had. All right, because remember, this was some type of vivid dream. He just got woken up out of sleep. Con?
Con.
Okay. Go ahead. No, wait, did you guys finish writing that down?
Con.
Con?
Con.
La.
La.
Can you repeat it again?
Good what?
Can you repeat it again?
Repeat it again? Okay. Nebuchadnezzar called for his magicians, comma, astrologers, comma, sorcerers, and Chaldeans, and the Chaldeans to come to interpret the dream. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have a date when he became king?
Yes, ma'am, I do. We're going to go through all that in this chapter. Yes, ma'am.
God.
All right. Continue. Or was that it, sis? Done? Okay. Any other questions so far?
Lot.
Okay. Go ahead.
Verse 4. Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in Sirach,
Done.
O king, live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation. 5.
Stop. So basically, read that verse again.
Then spake the Chaldeans to the king in Sirach, O king, live forever. Tell thy servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation.
So these supposed sorcerers, astrologers, right? The Chaldeans, they're asking for the dream. They're asking him to tell them the dream, right?
Con.
So they can interpret it. All right? That's what's going on so far. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And the king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me. If ye will not make known unto me the dream, with the interpretation thereof, ye shall be cut into pieces.
So basically, they're asking for the interpretation. They're asking for the dream so they can interpret it. But the king's basically telling them, like, listen, I want you to know the dream and interpret it. You're supposed to be the soothsayers. You're supposed to be the sorcerers, the Chaldeans. You guys are supposed to know this. I'm letting you know I had a dream of dreams, and I need you to interpret it. But they're like, okay, well, what's the dream so we can interpret it? They're basically trying to play coy. If you don't see what's going on here.
Come.
Go ahead.
And your houses shall be made a dunghill.
So he's getting frustrated at this instance. Read it again.
Verse 5. The king answered and said to the Chaldeans, the thing is gone from me. If ye will not make known unto me the dream, with the interpretation thereof, ye shall be cut into pieces, and your houses shall be made a dunghill.
That's kind of scary. Somebody told you they're going to chop you up and then make your house into a dunghill. Yeah, he's getting hot. This must have been some type of dream, you know? Go ahead.
Verse 6. But if ye show the dream and the interpretation thereof, ye shall receive of me gifts and rewards and great honor. Therefore, show me the dream and the interpretation thereof.
Continue.
7. And they answered again and said, let the king tell his servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation of it. The king answered and said, I know of certainty that ye would gain the time, because ye see the thing is gone from me.
See, he's not playing dumb. He's like, I'm not stupid. You see what they're trying to do, right?
Gone.
Gone?
Gone. They're trying to get him to tell them so they can kind of make something up for it.
Exactly. Well, this is what this dream means, and well, the interpretation of this dream means, right?
Gone.
But the king's not having it. He's like, listen, I'm gonna either lift you up really high, or I'm gonna cut you into pieces and turn your house into a dunghill. You guys know what a dunghill is, right?
Gone.
Con, you want to look that word up real quick? Just in case, because only one person said con. Let me know when you have it.
Con.
Con, go ahead.
A heap of dung.
A heap of what?
A heap of dung.
And what is dung?
Feces.
Excrement, especially of animal manure, right? To manure the ground with or as if with dung. So he's going to basically make your house full of just manure after he chops you into pieces. All right? Con?
Con.
Con?
Con.
Okay. Go ahead.
Verse 6. But if ye show the dream and the interpretation thereof, ye shall receive of me gifts and rewards and great honor. Therefore show me the dream and the interpretation thereof. And they said again, and they again said, let the king tell his servants the dream, and we will show the interpretation of it. The king answered and said, I know of certainty that ye would gain the time, because ye see the thing is gone from me. Verse 9. But if ye will not make known unto me the dream, there is but one decree for you. For ye have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me.
Stop. Read it from the top of verse 9.
Verse 9. But if you will not make known unto me the dream, there is but one decree for you. For ye have prepared lying and corrupt words to speak before me.
See, he was already a step ahead. It's the same way you just said, Abiyar. He's not being taken for a fool. Listen, you already got something prepared. That's why you want me to tell you. Because you got to figure it this way or figure it that way. Go ahead.
Till the time be charged. Therefore, tell me the dream, and I show you, and I shall know that ye can show me the interpretation thereof. 10. The Chaldeans answered before the king and said, there is not a man upon the earth that can show the king's matter. Therefore, there is no king, lord, nor ruler that asks such thing of any magician, or astrologer, or Chaldean.
So, just so we're clear, the king wants the interpretation of a dream, but he can't remember the dream. And he wants you to give you he wants the interpretation of the dream, but he hasn't told you what the dream was.
So he wants them because they're sorcerers,
right,
and magicians,
and astrologers. They study the stars.
He believes that they should be able to tell him his dream.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me good.
I want you to remember my dream for me, homie.
And I didn't even tell you what it was.
No, think about it. I want you to remember my dream for me. I can't tell you what it was.
He couldn't remember it.
Yeah, I can't tell you what it is, but you got to remember it because you got all these powers.
He said it's gone from me.
You got to think about what type of man this dude was. Man, that's unreasonable. But he believed in their powers.
And he was getting hot with it too. He was like, listen. Go ahead.
Verse 11. And it is a rare thing that the king requireth, and there is none other that can show it before the king, except the gods, whose dwelling is not of flesh.
So the Chaldeans are trying to get the dream from Nebuchadnezzar. Right? Nebuchadnezzar in the interpretation. So he wants the dream given and the interpretation of the dream. All right, you guys with us so far?
Gone.
Any questions?
Loud.
We know what's going on here?
Gone.
Double shot, what's going on here? What's happening so far? What do we understand?
What I understand is that the king, he wants the sorcerer, the magician, and the astrologers to interpret the dream, but they keep asking him, what did you dream? They can't do it. Like, I want you to tell me, that way I can, make something up or basically turn it around and make it seem like this way instead of what you actually dream.
Okay. Wow. Go ahead. What verse are we at?
Verse 12. For this cause the king was very angry and furious, and commanded to destroy all the wise men of Babylon.
Stop. So Nebuchadnezzar gives the command to kill all the wise men of Babylon at this time. Because this is getting real. It's getting outrageous. Yes, ma'am.
So I just want to make sure I understand. So it's this king, he wants someone to interpret his dream. He knows what the dream is, or he doesn't know what the dream is?
He doesn't know.
Okay.
He forgot what the dream was.
Okay, so he wants them to tell him what I dreamed. He goes, okay, let me try.
Yeah, I want you to tell me, I want you to remember my dream and interpret my dream.
Okay.
But then you ask me, okay, well, what'd you dream? I don't know.
Right.
But that's why you're here.
Right. Okay, Khan.
To tell me. All right? Khan?
Khan.
All right, so now he just sent the decree to kill all the wise men. Why? Because they're looking pretty useless at this point. Right?
Khan.
They ain't looking so wise.
Go ahead.
Verse 13. And the decree went forth that all the wise men should be slain. And they sought Daniel and his fellows to be slain. Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to
What verse you at?
14.
Okay, read it from the top. Take your time.
Then Daniel answered with counsel and wisdom to Arioch,
Arioch.
the captain of the king's guards, which has gone forth to slay the wise men of Babylon.
So Daniel's inquiring what's going on, right? So he sees this man about to go slay somebody. He wants to know what's going on. Go ahead.
Then he answered and said to Arioch, the king's captain, why is the decree so hasty from the king? And then Arioch made the thing known to Daniel. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time.
So now Daniel's made aware of Nebuchadnezzar's decree. So just right then, Daniel is made aware of Nebuchadnezzar's decree. And what was that decree? Ray?
To kill all of the wise men.
Why?
Because they did it.
Wife of Abiar.
Camilla.
It went. I'm sorry.
Because they didn't know what he was dreaming, so he thinks that they just BSing.
Right. They're useless.
Right.
You're a wise man and you can't tell me.
They wise, but not they wise.
Yeah, but you can't tell me my dream.
Right.
You can't remember my dream for me. Right. Okay. Go ahead.
Verse 16. Then Daniel went in and desired of the king that he would give him time, and that he would show the king the interpretation.
So at this time, Daniel is granted time to find out the dream. All right? He doesn't know what the dream was. He wasn't in the king's court. He wasn't in the king's quarters, but he found out what was going on. He found out that the wise men were about to be slain. So he's like, listen, let me talk to the king. Listen, let me find out what the dream was, and I'll get back to you. Just give me some time. So he gets granted the time. Okay? Khan?
Khan.
Okay, go ahead.
17. Then Daniel went into his house and made the thing known unto Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
You guys know who that is?
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Who?
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
There you go.
His companions.
Hang on. You guys might want to write that down. Side note.
Actually, this you can put in Daniel chapter 1,
verse 6.
Verse 6. And verse 7.
Come.
Daniel chapter 1 and verse 6 and verse 7. Daniel chapter 1 and verse 6 and 7. It gives you the alternate names, the other names of Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
And Daniel's was Belshazzar.
Yep.
Belshazzar. I like that name. Sound
You gonna name your next son? I don't know.
God. Where we at?
Daniel chapter 2, verse 18.
God. Go ahead.
That they would desire mercy of the Most High of heaven.
So basically, so when Daniel gets home, he sees Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? Or in this case, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, and he's getting counsel from them. They're going to get counsel from the he's getting counsel from his brother, right? To beg for help from the Most High. Daniel goes and gets counsel with Hananiah, Mishael, right? Mishael, and Azariah to beg help from the Most High. Okay?
Come on.
Go ahead. Verse 19.
Concerning this secret, that Daniel and his fellows should not perish with the rest of the wise men of Babylon. 19. Then was the secret revealed unto Daniel.
So now they sought the Most High, right? Khan? So they sought the Most High, and now the Most High granted the revelation of the dream, or the interpretation of the dream. Okay? Khan? Okay, go ahead.
In a night vision. Then Daniel blessed the Most High of heaven.
So Daniel basically, he praised the Most High. In everything that we get, we're supposed to what? Clash?
Praise the Most High.
We're supposed to what?
Praise the Most High.
In everything. And that's what Daniel did in this case. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 20. Daniel answered and said, Blessed be the name of the Most High forever and ever, for wisdom and might are his.
Because think about that. That's where we get everything from, right?
Khan.
So he's worthy to be praised with that, right?
Khan.
There you go.
Continue. Go ahead. And he changeth the times and the seasons, and removeth kings, and set up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding. He revealeth the deep and secret things. He knoweth what is in the darkness, and the light dwelleth with him. I thank thee and praise thee, O thou Most High of my fathers, who has given me wisdom and might, and has made known unto me now what we desire of thee. For thou hast now made known unto us the king's matter.
So basically, this is showing you that the Most High is in charge of all things, right? When you read verse 21, it says he changeth the times and the seasons. That's the Most High's doings, right? The Most High, he puts you in the position of authority. That's because the Most High puts you in that position of authority, right? It said he changeth the times and seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings, and giveth wisdom unto the wise. So all these things come from the Most High. That's why he's worthy to be praised in everything. That's why, because he sought the Most High, he didn't seek after another magician. He didn't seek after another soothsayer. He didn't seek after the astrology, right? He seeked after the Most High, and that's why he made known that matter. Khan? And this is another story that we should be following within ourselves. When we have an issue, when we have a matter, when we think something, when we need some type of interpretation, we got to seek the Most High. Khan? What verse you at?
Verse 24.
Go ahead.
Therefore Daniel went unto Arioch, whom the king had ordained to destroy the wise men of Babylon. He went and said thus unto him, Destroy not the wise men of Babylon. Bring me before the king, and I will show unto the king the interpretation. Then Arioch brought in Daniel before the king in haste, and said thus unto him, I have found a man of the captives of Judah, that will make known unto the king the interpretation.
So at this time now that we understand, Daniel was brought in before the king. All right? Khan?
Khan.
Go ahead.
26. And the king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen?
So now we understand that Nebuchadnezzar asked Daniel for the interpretation. All right? Go ahead.
And the interpretation thereof? 27. Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king has demanded cannot be Salat. The secret.
Read it from the top.
Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king hath demanded cannot the wise men.
Read it from the top. Listen. Take your time. Take a breath. All right.
Okay.
See, what happens is when the teacher's expounding, right? What you do is you put your finger on the last word you read. Mm-hmm. Look away for a second to get your eyes reserted, because if you're looking at the words for too long, they all start meshing together, and then it looks like you're just dyslexic. I've been there. I know what you mean. I know what it's like to do that. So you just hold your finger on the word, look away, right, and then when you look back down, it's restarted. All right. So verse 27. Read it again.
Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king hath demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers, show unto the king.
So basically, right here, Daniel's mocking everybody. He's like, wait a minute. Surely these wise men, these soothsayers, these magicians, these astrologers, they couldn't interpret the dream. Wait a minute, you guys got these titles. You guys got these big names. Right? You look today, these men walking up and down the streets. You remember when we passed out the flyers? To the guy who was like, he said the crowd with his chest sticking out. Oh, I'm in astrology right now. Brother, let's talk about your moon sign. Let's talk about your rising star.
Right.
Like, really? Same type of men today, back then, still can't give an account for interpretation of dreams. Still lack knowledge, wisdom, and understanding in these scriptures. Why? Because they're going after the creature. They're serving the creature over the creator. You don't do that. You're not supposed to do that. We're supposed to be serving and giving thanks and praise and worship to the Most High solely. That's why Daniel's mocking. He's like, you guys hold this title of being wise, but you're looking like an idiot right now.
Right.
Go ahead.
Verse 28. But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets, and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days. Thy dream and the vision of thy head upon thy bed are these.
So this is where Daniel's exalting the Most High. See, he's doing something that everybody else isn't doing in those days. He's exalting the Most High. Go ahead.
29. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, what should come to pass hereafter. And he that revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass. But as for...
So the Most High, Daniel's showing that the Most High, he's the one who reveals secrets. Not wise men, not sorcerers, not astrologies, not horoscopes. Oh, I gotta look up my daily horoscope, figure out what my day's gonna be like. Well, read the Bible and you'll figure out what your day's gonna be like. Oh, well, I'm this sign, and she's this sign. Well, no, read what the scripture says. Desire not a woman for her beauty. That alone will already let you know what type of companion you're going to get. What type of companion you need to be with. Right?
Come.
So Daniel, in this instance, he's exalting the Most High. He's letting the king know, like, listen, the Most High is the one who reveals the dreams. He's the one who makes secrets known.
Come.
Not men, not their books, not another creature, but the Creator who created the creature. The Most High. Go ahead.
Verse 30. But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king, and
go ahead.
And that thou mightest known the thoughts of thy heart.
So basically, Daniel is telling the king that the secret was not given to Daniel for himself, but specifically for Nebuchadnezzar. Read it again.
But as for me, this secret is not revealed to me for any wisdom.
So he's saying he's not going to benefit from this because this dream wasn't meant for him. Go ahead.
That I have more than any living, but for their sakes that shall make known the interpretation to the king.
To the who?
To the king.
Because this interpretation was for the king. All right? Go ahead.
So thou, O king, is a great image. This great image, whose brightness was
what? A great image.
God.
Okay, write that down. Make sure you're writing that down. We're going to figure out now Nebuchadnezzar had. So this great statue. So you're going to write down great image equals giant statue. Read verse 31 again.
Verse 31. Thou, O king, saddest, and behold, a great image.
Class, what does that great image represent? Okay, go ahead.
This great image, whose brightness was excellent, stood before thee, and the form thereof was terrible.
What?
Was terrible.
Terrible. Stop. So you're going to write down terrible. And terrible is immense. So it wasn't just a giant statue, but it was giant and immense. All right? So that's what it meant by terrible. Daniel's chapter 2. What verse are we at, sir?
31.
Question?
You said terrible was immense?
Immense. I-M-M-E-N-S-E. Immense. I-M-M-E-N-S-E. All right. You got it written down?
Come.
Sis?
Con.
Okay. Go ahead.
Verse 32. This image's head was of fine gold.
Stop. So now you're going to write down head of gold equals head of gold equals, all right, Babylonian Empire. Head of gold equals Babylonian Empire, which came into power approximately 586 BC. There's your answer to your question, sis. Babylonian Empire, which came into power approximately 586 BC. You guys got that written down? Am I moving too fast? Okay. Modern name, Ethiopians. Their modern name are the Ethiopians. And their biblical names are the Cushites. Their biblical name are the Cushites, who are the sons of Ham. You guys got that written down? Con? All right, so what does that great image represent, Camilla?
Giant statue.
Which was what? And it was terrible, but meant what?
Immense.
Okay. And what does the head of gold represent, Allison?
The Babylonian Empire.
Which what?
It reigned into power in 586 BC, but it's also the Ethiopians. Their biblical names are the Cushites, and they're the sons of Ham.
Their modern name, the name that they're known by today is Ethiopians. Their today's name is Ethiopians, right?
Come.
Right. But they were the Cushites. Their biblical name is the Cushites, who are the sons of Ham. All right? That was the Babylonian Empire. Come?
Come.
What verse are we at? 32?
Come.
Go ahead.
Daniel chapter 2, verse 32. This image's head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver.
Stop. So the breast and the arms of silver equals the Persians and Medes. The Persians and Medes. Persians and the Medes, which came into power approximately 538 BC. All right. The Persians today are known as the East Indians. The Persians today are known as the East Indians. Their biblical name, they would be known as Elam.
What verse you on?
What verse are we at, sir? Verse 32. Yes, sis.
You said, when did the Persians come in?
The Persians and the Medes came into power approximately 538 BC. Ready? All right. So the breast of the breast arms of silver, the beast arms of silver, represented the Persians and the Medes, which came into power when? Class?
538 BC.
Okay. And the Persians today are known as the what?
East Indians.
And their biblical names were the what?
Elam.
Okay. First King Cyrus. All right. Cyrus. The Medes today would be known as the Hawaiians, the Samoans, the Togans, the Filipinos, the Aborigines of Australia. I'm going to say it again. The Medes the Medes, known today as the Hawaiians, the Samoans, the Tongans, the Filipinos, the Aborigines of Australia. The Medes' biblical name, or the Medes are the sons of Japheth. First king was Darius. The first king was Darius. John? Yes, ma'am.
You said their biblical name was Japheth?
They're, the Medians are the sons of Japheth.
Or sons of Japheth.
All right. Go ahead, Abiar.
His belly and his thighs of brass.
Stop. Write that down. The belly and the thigh of brass. Belly and the thigh of brass equals the Greek Empire. The Greek Empire, which came into power approximately 333 BC. Today known as the so-called white people.
Where they killed Paul.
333 BC.
So before you go to the so-called Esau, who did you say the son of Japheth king was?
The Medes?
Khan.
It was Darius.
Darius.
Khan?
Khan.
Okay. So the
The belly and the thighs.
the belly and the thighs represent who?
The Greek
The
Empire.
Greek Empire.
Okay. And when did they come into power?
333 BC.
What year?
333 BC.
Okay. And who are they known today as?
So-called white people.
Okay, in their biblical names, they were known as the Edomites. They were known as the Edomites. All right. Their first emperor was Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great. All right. Go ahead, read. All right. Has everybody got that written down?
Khan.
Okay. Go ahead, read, WR.
Verse 35.
No. Verse 33, sir.
Oh, it's a lot.
He jumped.
Jumping.
Verse 35.
Get done.
Because it said iron. I remember I was at iron. 33. His legs of iron, his feet of part iron.
Read it again.
It's a lot. His legs of iron.
Stop. Write that down. Legs of iron equals. Legs of iron equals. The Roman Empire. The Roman Empire, which started to come into power. Now listen to what I'm saying. Which started to come into power approximately 227 BC. But came into full power at 27 BC. All right. Don?
Can you repeat it?
All right. The Roman Empire started to come into power at 227 BC. But came into full power at 27 BC.
Take them 200 years to come into full power.
Mm-hmm.
Guess they ain't that strong.
It's in the 2.5 to run. So they came into full power in 27 BC. All right. They were known also as the so-called white people today. All right. Their biblical names, they would be known as the Edomites.
Oh, here come the trolls.
Right.
Here come the Facebook trolls.
Basically known as the Edomites, ruled by the Senate. So they didn't have a king, they had a Senate. All right. So do we understand the legs of iron class? Were who?
Roman Empire.
Okay, and when did they come into a power?
Well, it started to come into power 227 BC.
Okay, and when did they come fully into power?
27 BC.
Okay. And what were they known as today?
Esau.
Right. And what were they biblically known by? Okay, and who was their ruler?
The Senate.
The what?
The Senate.
Okay. All right. Next one.
Like the government.
Let's look up the definition of Senate. Come on. Go ahead.
Any or various legislative or governing bodies in particular.
See? So they had a governing body. Instead of a dictatorship, instead of one ruling person, they had a ruling body that made decisions. Yes, ma'am?
There's also another one that says an assembly or council of citizens having the highest deliberative functions in a government. It's, I guess, basically they like voting. Is that what it means?
Right. You had the ruling body. You had the people that were in. It's basically the way it's set up now. You had high officials, and the officials went together and they made decisions, and then they did things that, like in a voting sense. But it was their people for their people. You understand? Next one. Was that it? Next one.
Verse 33. His legs of iron, his feet part of iron, and part.
Okay. Read the first one again.
Part of iron.
So his feet were of iron, right?
Come.
Of iron what? Did it say? Did I jump? Go ahead, read it again.
His legs of iron, his feet part of iron, and part of clay.
Okay, so the feet of iron, part clay, right? You're gonna write this down, which equals the feet of iron, part clay, equals which is the latter end of Roman Empire. The latter end of the Roman Empire, which is America. Which is America. Got that written down? Con? Okay. Verse 34.
Verse 34.
Ray, take over for him. That way he can get some notes too.
Con, verse 34. Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands.
Stop. Read it again.
Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands.
Stop. That stone represents Christ. That stone represents Christ. So you're going to write stone equals Christ. And to understand that that was Christ, it was speaking of Christ, go to Psalms 118, verse 22.
Psalms 118, verse 22.
Give me a comment when you guys get it. Go ahead.
The stone which the builder refused is become the headstone of the corner.
Okay. Go to Judges or Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 20.
Ephesians chapter 2, verse 20.
Give me a comment when you get it. That person who got it. Go ahead.
Ephesians chapter 2 and verse 20. And are built upon the foundation of the apostles and the prophets. Yahushua himself.
Who?
Yahushua himself.
So it's showing you who that stone was. It said Yahushua himself. Go ahead.
Being the chief cornerstone.
He's the what?
Chief cornerstone.
The chief cornerstone. He's the one that's the most important, valuable piece inside of a building. If you don't have a cornerstone, you're not going to have a strong foundation. If you don't have a strong foundation, you're not going to have a strong building. So if it's not, the cornerstone is not Yahushua, then it's going to fall. That's why precepts are important.
You know what that shows? That if your relationships are not built in Christ or founded on Christ, it won't last. If whatever you're endeavoring to do is not built upon Christ, it ain't gonna happen. Y'all get that? And not just, oh, I believe in Christ, but actually doing the work of Christ. It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna be prosperous.
Yeah. Because that's like you said earlier, faith without works. Faith without works. You believe in Christ, but you believe in the Most High, but you're not going to show forth your works to show that you believe in it. Okay, you show up to class, but then what? You keep your beard long, then what? You keep your head covering, what? You got to have works behind it. But anyways, continue where you were at, right?
Thou sawest till that a stone was cut out without hands.
So that stone was who, class?
Christ.
It was who, class?
Christ.
And how do we know that, class?
Ephesians chapter 2, verse 20.
Okay. Exandria, how do we know that, sis?
Because the precepts we just went to in Ephesians, I can't remember which one it was. Sorry, I was like going back to Daniel.
That's okay.
What was the scriptures for it again?
Okay. Who has the scriptures written down? Camila?
Psalms 18 and 22 and Ephesians 2:20.
Psalms what?
18, 22.
118.
118.
118, 22. I have written 118.
God. But which goes again to Abiyar's first question on Isaiah chapter 28 verse 10. Precept has to be on precept in order to understand what the stone represents, because if you just read it for face value in verse what verse were we at?
34.
34, right? If you just read it for face value, it says, "Thou sawest till that a stone was cut off without hands." What understanding do you have? You're just going to keep reading it like, okay, there was a stone that didn't have any hands, and you're going to try to make sense of the story? You're not going to have understanding. Right? So, what you have to do is it has to be upon precept. Precept upon precept. That's doing what the Bible says. Huh? Okay, continue, right?
Which smote the image upon his feet that were of iron and clay, and break them to pieces.
Stop. So we understand that that Christ, the cornerstone, that stone image, right? Christ is going to destroy. He's going to bring down America. It said it smote it, right?
God.
So broken into pieces equals. Oh, we didn't get. Are we still at verse 34?
God.
Okay. So it's going to break down into pieces. So that stone image, Christ is going to destroy / bring down America. Go ahead.
Verse 35. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together.
So it was broken in pieces, right? Write down, broken in pieces equals destroyed kingdoms of the earth. Destroyed kingdoms of the earth. Continue.
Verse 35. Broken to pieces together and became like the chaff of the summer.
Stop. Chaff, C-H-A-F-F. The chaff is the husk from grain after grain stripped. The chaff is thrown away. God. All right. Go ahead, Ray.
Of the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them.
Stop. The wind in this case is going to be a twofold usage. All right. And the wind what?
Carried them away.
And the wind that carried them away was that nuclear destruction, comma. That wind equals a twofold usage, which is the nuclear destruction, and the wind blow away America.
Where we at?
Yeah, because when them bombs drop, this place is blown up. The wind is just gonna be dust. This is gonna be when the wind blows, this is gone. Right? The wind blows, this is gonna be gone. Ain't gonna be nothing left. It's gonna decimate this place. It's gonna flatten it. That's what nuclear destruction does. If you ever seen a nuclear bomb go off, go research Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan. It flattened it. Anything in that bomb radius was flattened. All plant life, all animal life was decimated.
Oh, people were evaporated.
And then what happened when that wind blew also, it blew over into the other cities. Now you got people with that radiation, right? You still got babies being born today with some sort of like deformity from that radiation, from that contamination. That destruction ain't gonna be no joke. You think you can run from it. You gonna be able to hide in a cliff? That cliff is gonna be flattened. They gonna be able to hide in NORAD?
Tell the mountains to fall upon us, please.
Right.
Hide us.
NORAD is gonna be flattened. Y'all ain't gonna be able to hide in NORAD or the cliffs in Colorado. You know, little bomb shelters in Colorado. If anybody's ever been there,
Oh, those bunkers.
yeah, you go to a lot of these places, like they got the Air Force Base over there in Colorado Springs.
Right.
That opens up in the mountain.
You got,
And they think they're gonna be able to hide.
you got something in Castle Rock too, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's all they say. I mean, but we're not supposed to know that they're there because they're supposed to be top secret military bunkers.
Oh, there's a city up under DIA.
That's what they say. I mean, that's what they say. I never seen it, so I can't speak on it.
There was one under when Bush came to America. When Bush came to Colorado, when we still had Stapleton Airport.
Yeah.
When there was Stapleton Airport, he moved around the city through the underground of Stapleton.
I never knew there was an underground in Stapleton Airport. That's what we're talking about is an old airport in Colorado. But the point is this: they're not going to be able to run from the destruction. The place is going to be flattened.
There is no hiding.
Right.
It said we read it earlier. It said he knows the secrets of the dark. So you can't hide in the dark and expect to outwit the Most High. He's the one who gave you the wisdom in the first place. But anyways, go ahead.
Then no place was found for them.
So nobody's gonna escape this. Write this down. No place was found equals no power, no rulership, authority for nations. No power, rulership, authority for nations. No power, rulership, authority for nations. Con? Go ahead.
And the stones that smote the image became.
Stop. And the stone represented what? Who class?
Christ.
Who?
Christ.
Okay. Read.
That smote the image became a great mountain.
Stop. So the smiting, when it said the smote, that's to destroy. That is to destroy. Go ahead.
And filled the whole earth.
Go ahead.
Verse 36. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof, being before the king.
Wait, read verse 35 again.
35.
Mm-hmm.
Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken into pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floor, and the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain.
The great mountain, right? The great mountain equals the mountain the Mount Zion, which equal Israel. So that great mountain, right? That great mountain represents Mount Zion, which is Israel. John?
Con.
Okay, go ahead.
And filled the whole earth. This is the dream, and we will tell the interpretation thereof before the king.
Okay.
Thou, O king, art a king of kings, for a God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power, and strength, and glory.
So this is the interpretation of the dream. You're at verse what? 36, right?
37.
37. All right. So he's talking again to King Nebuchadnezzar. Go ahead.
Verse 38. And whatsoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art the head, this head of gold.
So the Most High, he gives the power. He's given this power and this rulership, the authority, right? That's the head. That's the head of the gold. All right. Khan?
Khan.
And who is that ruled by?
The Babylonians, Nebuchadnezzar. Babylonian,
Right, because the head of gold represented who?
Nebuchadnezzar.
Nebuchadnezzar.
The Babylonian Empire.
The Babylonian Empire,
Khan.
which was during what time?
Something BC.
586 BC.
What did you write down?
586 BC.
Okay. So it's in 586 BC. And 586 BC, who was the ruling nation? The Babylonians. That's their modern day name. But what nation was ruling? What in five what?
586 BC.
586 BC was the Babylonians, right? And they represented what of the giant statue?
Golden head.
The golden head. The head of gold. So the head of gold represented the Babylonian Empire, who are known today as the Ethiopians. What was their biblical name?
Cushites.
Cushites, right?
Son.
And they were what?
Son of
Ham.
Japheth. Oh, son of Ham.
Son of Ham, friend. Son of Ham. You got to make sure you're writing this down. The Ethiopians were the Cushites, and the Cushites were the sons of Ham. Because when you look up the definition of Ham, he tells you he's the progenitor of the dark race, not the Negroes, but of the Ethiopians, the Libyans, right? So those would be known as the Cushites, biblically. Okay? Go ahead. Was that the end of verse 38?
Come on.
Go ahead.
Verse 39. And after thee shall arise another kingdom, inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass.
So the other, it said another kingdom, right? So the other kingdom would be known as the Persians and the Medes Empire. The Persians and the Mede Empire. Right? And their approximate empire began when?
538 BC.
When?
538 BC.
There we go. So another kingdom, go ahead.
Which shall bear rule over all the earth.
Read it from 39. Read from where you last left off. When I tell you to stop, you read the next word after that. Okay?
What?
Con?
God.
Okay. Verse 39. Read it again.
And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee.
I'll say. Okay, so after another kingdom, it says inferior, right? So inferior is not as refined or as glorious as the Babylonians. So it's not as inferior, or it's not as refined, I'm sorry, it's not as refined and glorious as the Babylonians. That's why they are inferior. Okay? Go ahead.
And another third kingdom of brass.
Okay, so this kingdom of brass equals the Greek Empire. The Greek Empire. Which came into power when, class?
333 BC.
When, class?
333 BC.
There we go. So the kingdom of brass, go ahead.
Which shall bear rule over all the earth.
All the earth, right, equals conquering all known dark nations. Alexander conquered all the known dark nations. Because he was in rulership, right?
Khan.
Khan?
Khan.
Who was the emperor of the Grecians?
Alexander.
Alexander the Great. Okay. Go ahead.
And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron.
What verse are you at?
Verse 40.
Okay. So verse 40, it says the fourth kingdom. The fourth kingdom is the Roman Empire. Which started power when, class?
227 BC.
When did they start, class?
227 BC.
And when did they come into full power, Davashai? Here we go. Verse 40.
Gone.
Okay. Go ahead.
Much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things.
So it said strong iron. It's strong iron, right?
Gone.
Read verse 40 again.
And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron.
Strong as iron. Okay. The strong as iron is referring to the Roman legion / military. Alright? The Roman legion military. Go ahead. Ray?
For as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things.
Stop. So it broke into pieces and subdued all things. Go ahead.
And as iron that breaketh all these.
Stop. So it conquered all the nations before it. So it broke into pieces and subdued. So it conquered, that means it conquered all the nations before it. John?
Gone.
Go ahead.
Shall it break in pieces and bruise.
Read.
Verse 41.
So the feet. Oh, go ahead, verse 41.
And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes.
Stop. So the feet represent America. Feet equals America. John?
Gone.
Go ahead. It says in toes. Go ahead.
Part of potter's clay.
The potter's clay equals partly weak. Potter's clay equals partly weak. Go ahead.
And part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided.
Potter's iron equals partly strong. Go ahead, read. You start at the.
The kingdom shall be divided.
Stop. Divided. Divided equals Esau against Esau, i.e. Democrats versus Republicans. Liberals versus conservatives. Divided equals Esau against Esau, i.e. Democrats versus Republicans. Liberals versus conservatives. Got that written down, guys?
Come on.
Go ahead.
But there shall be in it of the strength of the iron.
Stop. The strength of iron is a strong military. Strength of iron equals strong military. Strength of iron equals strong military. Go ahead.
For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with merry clay.
What verse you at?
That was the end of 41.
Okay, go ahead.
For as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay.
Okay, continue.
Verse 42. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken.
So when it says it's partly broken equals weak society and their moral code. Weak society and their moral code. Okay, go ahead.
And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men.
Stop. When it says mingle themselves with seed of men, that's America, who has all nations within its borders. The great America. All right, the mix that has all nations within its borders. Think about it, because what other nation has a mix of so many nations within its in its borders? Anybody else know of another nation?
What was your question?
I said, what other nation do you know of that has so many mixed nations within themselves?
Look at New York City. What do they call it? The Great Melting Pot, right?
Go on.
It's a melting pot of nations. Every nation goes to those borders. New York probably has a little bit of every nation in it. Everyone goes there. It's the city. Why? It's the New York, big city of dreams, right?
Right.
Everybody's trying to chase that American dream. So everybody's going to go to this place, to these borders. So yeah, but you know, when you look at it, New York is just a representation of the great America, the Babylon.
You got New York, California,
Right.
Texas, Colorado's moving up there.
But nothing is like New York, because New York offers a little bit of everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they accommodate all nations.
Go ahead.
But they shall not cleave one to another.
Not cleave one to another equals divided within its borders, not united.
Think about it. You go to New York, what do you got? Chinatown, Little Italy, right? You got if you if you ask a person, what part of New York you from? They tell you Flatbush, they're gonna automatically assume you're Jamaican. That's where all the Jamaicans are at, in Brooklyn. You know, that's what it's talking about, divided inside. All these nations, right?
Right, and they're not united.
Right. The Jamaicans ain't messing with the Chinese. The Chinese ain't messing with the Italians.
All right, go ahead, read.
They shall be mingled themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as iron is not mixed with clay. And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom.
What verse you at?
44.
Okay.
Which shall never be destroyed. And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms.
Read verse 44 again.
And in the days of these kings shall the God of heaven set up a kingdom, which shall never be destroyed.
So this kingdom that will never be destroyed is going to be Israel. This kingdom that will never be destroyed will be Israel. All right? Go ahead.
And the kingdom shall not be left to other people.
So when it says not left to other people, write down not to other people equals only Israelites will rule. No other nation of people. That means only Israel will be in a position of authority, not anybody else in the world. Go ahead.
And the kingdom shall not be left to other people, but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Verse 45. For as much as thou sawest that the stone was cut out.
Who is the stone represented again, class?
Yahweh.
Okay. Read.
For as much as we saw that the stone was cut out of the mountain.
Stop. And what did the mountain represent, class?
Israel.
Who?
Israel.
Israel. Read.
Without hands.
So it was Israel. So out of the mountain was Israel, and Christ comes out of the nation of Israel. Okay?
Come.
Go ahead.
And they break in pieces the iron, the brass, the silver, and the gold.
So when it breaks into pieces of the iron and the gold, right? It's basically letting you know that it's overthrowing all kingdoms and empires. So right now, breaks into pieces the iron and the gold equals overthrows all kingdoms and empires. Overthrows all kingdoms and empires. Was that the end of verse 35? Go ahead.
The great God hath made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter. And the dream is certain, and the interpretation thereof sure. Then the king Nebuchadnezzar fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel, and commanded that they should offer an oblation and sweet odors unto him.
So we're the Most High. So Daniel, again, he's giving the Most High. Daniel praised the Most High for having this vision. All right, for getting this wisdom. All right, and then Nebuchadnezzar seeing where the vision, he's honoring where the vision came from. Go ahead.
The king answered unto Daniel and said, of a truth it is that your God is a God of gods.
So the king is even recognizing that the Most High is a God of gods. He's not just a God or the gods. No, he's the God of gods. He is the power of powers. He is the Most High. This is what the Nebuchadnezzar's realizing, right? That Nebuchadnezzar, he's praising the Most High, the power of Israel. Go ahead.
And a Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets. Seeing thou couldst reveal this secret, then the king made Daniel a great man, and gave him many great gifts, and made him ruler over the whole province of Babylon.
So basically, Nebuchadnezzar exalts Daniel to second in command over all of Babylon. Because of his interpretation, he exalts Daniel in the second in command over all of Babylon. Go ahead.
And chief of the governors over all the wise men of Babylon. Then Daniel requested of the king, and he set Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego over the affairs of the province of Babylon, but Daniel sat in the gate of the king.
So Daniel as well, he took it, he rose up his brothers with him. So when he came up, his brothers came up.
Con.
Right?
Con.
When one reigns, we all reign. Con?
Con.
Any questions?
La.
La?
La.
La.
Okay. Any questions online?
La.
Okay.
Before we go off, I need to just want y'all to clear. I wanted to clear something up so y'all have the correct notes. Go back to John. This was my earlier question. Go back to John chapter 9. Go back to John, St. John chapter 9. Just want to clear this up.
Verse 4.
We're all on the same page. Yeah, read verse 4.
I must work, St. John chapter 9, verse 4. I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day.
Right, so we know that Christ was talking about he got to do the works of the Most High, right?
Con.
Read on.
The night cometh when no man can work.
All right, so that part where it says the night, and this is probably going to clear up a lot of the discussion we had earlier.
Con.
The night, he says, the night that cometh when no man can work. That was a symbolic representation of, when he was saying the night cometh, it was talking about the time when the curses of Deuteronomy 28 and 29 were going to fall on us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so go to Deuteronomy 28 and 29.
Deuteronomy.
Everybody get it.
Come.
Con.
So it's talking about, yeah, the curses and the destruction of Jerusalem. So read that real, you got it?
Con.
Yeah, go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 29. And thou shalt grope at noonday,
Right?
as the blind gropeth in darkness.
Right, because when you're in slavery, right, there's no, you can't do the good works.
Con.
He's talking about.
Okay.
So now we question of
The
faith barren.
Con.
Yeah, you see that?
The Lincoln precepts.
Right, right. When you go, but then keep that when we jump to verse 5 with the light with the St. John, that's good. But yeah, that night represents the time of darkness when the curses would hit us. You groping at noonday. You basically you don't know what to do. There's no good coming out of you.
Con.
You see that? So that's what that's talking about. Yeah, you're not going to be doing the works of the Most High in slavery and in darkness. You see that?
Con.
Man, flip off that. Not gonna play. Was there any questions in here? I know we took y'all like a few minutes over. Anything? Anything online? All right. Well, we do thank y'all for joining us. And since there's nothing else online, we're gonna say shalom.
Shalom.